Hi, I'm Jim Rickards here in Washington, D.C., in front of the White House, as you can see. And with me is Kevin Massengill. Kevin's a retired military officer with a background in military intelligence. He's the CEO of a new startup company in predictive analytics called Meraglim. I couldn't be more excited about this company and Kevin's role in it. Basically, it's a continuation of some work that I started years ago at the CIA involving predictive analytics and the ability to use capital markets information to see major events before they happen. These are events, I like to say that the future's already here. The future's here today. You just have to dig through the data, understand the complex system dynamics, and see things unfolding. It's like watching a row of dominoes. When the first one falls, you know the last one's going to fall. You just have to know the dominoes are lined up and see the big picture. That's what we're going to be doing at Meraglim. Kevin, I'd love to turn it over to you and hear a little bit more about the company, the players, and kind of the vision for the company.
Oh, thanks, Jim. Delighted to be here. Thanks. And what a gorgeous day you picked for this. So we put Meraglim's team together around a core idea that actually flowed out of one of your first books. When you did Currency Wars and talked about Project Prophecy and the work you've done with the agency and the intelligence community, and we'll come back to that, what we decided was something that was such a value for the U.S. intelligence community should absolutely be considered for whether or not it could be transformed or readjusted so that it would be an excellent product for people who are managing large assets, whether they're financial assets or whether they're worried about transportation, utilities, and other risks. Mm-hmm. And so what we did was we took what you started with that and we built a team around that. And we called it Meraglim. I really love that name for those of you that missed your Torah studies. It's the Hebrew proper name for the 12-man reconnaissance team that Moses sent into the Promised Land, which Joshua and Caleb famously reported back from.
The original commando, so to speak.
Exactly.
Right?
What we were trying to capture was the idea of going to go look for problems, to go look for opportunities at the same time, right? We also chose the Raven logo, one because of its prophetic reoccurrence in both mythology and in Scripture as a symbol of foresight and prophecy, but also as a nod to your last book, your Road to Ruin, where you talked about the Raven of Zurich, right? And I'm starting a petition to get you named as the Raven of Darien right now. We got to work with the Darien City Council; they're not happy about it. So what we've done is we've gone and got some of the best data scientists in the world who are at that intersection, not just complexity, not just different branches of complexity science, but also have a foot over in the capital markets, because this is a really rare phenomenon. You don't find a lot of those. You can find really smart people in Bayesian inference, not necessarily capital market theoreticians, right? Mm-hmm. Theoreticians. So we have tried to pull together a team that we think could really do justice to what you had started in the intelligence community. Right. And I couldn't be more pleased that you've agreed to join as chief global strategist and kind of give us some rudder guidance and keep us moving in the right direction. So I'm delighted to be here today to talk to you about it.
You know, Kevin, one of the key words you used there was team. And I'm a big believer, as you are, in team science. You can get great experts with particular areas of expertise. But if they're running on a little bit of a narrow gauge, they're going to be really good at what they do, but they're not going to see a lot of other things. Even if you bring 5 or 6 people together, you don't want 5 experts operating in silos. What you want is for them to integrate all those ideas. That's where the new ideas come from. The new ideas emerge from this mix of different branches of science that don't belong to any particular branch. They're not even there on the table when you start the conversation, but they do kind of come out of the mix, out of the soup. It's like a soup always tastes better than all the individual ingredients because of the blending, and that's what we're going to do. The other, I remember one thing I said to you when we first started talking about this, you know, a great firm like Morgan Stanley or Goldman Sachs or Citibank, these firms spend $1 billion a year in capital markets research and technology. I don't want to compete with that. We're not going to have $1 billion to spend. We don't have to spend $1 billion. Right. But I don't want to compete with that. We had to assure ourselves that we have something different, that we're doing something orthogonal to what they're doing. Because if we're just me too, with value at risk and efficient markets and the particular kind of data mining and what goes into high-frequency trading, I mean, that's all good as far as it goes, but it's very limited. A lot of that has failed time and time again. The elites keep increasing the budget, but they don't get better results. The 2008 crisis was a lot bigger than 1998. The next crisis, which we can see coming, is going to be a lot bigger than 2008. So they keep running the same playbook, getting the same bad results, and wonder why. What we're going to be doing is very different. We're going to basically, as you mentioned, integrate several branches of science. Certainly Bayesian statistics is part of it. Bayes theorem is what we use in the intelligence community. You use in the intelligence community. If you have a lot of data, smart high school kid can solve the problem. How do you solve a problem when you don't have very much data, only 1 or 2 bits?
Right.
You form a hypothesis, put the data into Bayes' theorem, and then you update. You basically use new data to validate or invalidate your original premise. That way you can basically start with an intelligent guess and update it that gets stronger or weaker as it goes along. That's a very valuable source of information. We're also using complexity theory, a relatively new branch of science. It's been used in a lot of other areas. We're sort of pioneers in bringing that over to capital markets. We're not the only ones, but we're one of the early ones. Do you want to talk about some of the other branches of science that we're looking at?
Yeah, absolutely. So in addition to the complexity science you described, specifically the fuzzy cognitive maps and the hierarchical trees, the Bayesian or causal inference, we're also going to incorporate behavioral psychology elements into that core analytic engine, and then 2 additional ones. We're going to do computing with words, and we're going to do the deep textual linguistic analysis that IBM Watson's perfectly competent at doing, and we're excited to have them on the team to help support that.
Right.
So in addition to those 5 branches of science, we've added a component to it that I think is unmatched anywhere else. So that we don't know of anybody that's doing that 5 blend in a core analytic engine. Let's say that right up front. But even that is made stronger by incorporating the historical perspective of deep subject matter experts that we can reach out globally, pull together into subject matter expert panels. And so we're not just going to offer you a flashing red light and a go with God, good luck, right? We're going to bring you a team of subject matter experts who, together with the core analytic engine and this panel of subject matter experts, are going to get you to a better solution than you could possibly do on your own, or at least at any reasonable cost.
Right. And I like what you mentioned about history. Look, I'm all for applied mathematics and good science and algorithms if you do it right. If you do it wrong, a model's only as good as the model and the algorithm itself. If you have a bad one, you're going to get bad results every time. If you have a good one with good predictive power, which is what we're building, you're going to get very good results. But I would not want to use or rely on any system that did not have some human input. So you'll be building a 24/7 watch center with subject matter experts, capital markets experts. There'll be real humans behind the wheel, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely right. And even if, another reason this is such an interesting niche for us is that even if our core competitors wanted to get in this game, because they could, they had, they got the resources to throw at it, they've got the quants, they could figure it out. If they could figure out how to divorce themselves from the standard distribution models and everything they're playing with right now, right? But assuming they wanted to, they're never going to compete with us because they're never going to sell their data analytics.
Right.
If you and I were running money again, we couldn't spend any amount of money and go to Morgan or Deutsche and get them to give us their internal data analytics. It's just completely antithetical to their business model. So it's another reason why this is such a great niche. We're going to provide for all the people that can't afford their own floors of quants and their own floors of analyst desks, we're going to provide a turnkey solution for the rest of the world that doesn't have a spare $2 billion to spend on this.
Right. And one of the coolest things we haven't even talked about, so this predictive analytic engine is going to produce these results, but how do you deliver those results to the client? The client may be running $1 trillion, but they're not necessarily experts in all these branches of science, nor should they be.
That's right.
Now, you can have a little, sort of a clunky, user interface with red, yellow, green lights or whatever, but you've actually identified a firm with Hollywood experience that has the coolest, most advanced graphical representations. We can actually take data and present it in a way that's very visual, very vibrant. If something's going wrong, that's going to show up. That globe is going to glow very brightly, and it's going to be very apparent to the user and very user-friendly.
Well, that's exactly right. Your challenge to me was go find a product face that the customer is saying that is as cutting edge, as advanced as the core science underneath it that they can't see. And so we spent a lot of time thinking about that and asking ourselves, who has that cutting edge visual display? Who's got the computer systems that you watch it and go, wow, right? Well, it's Tony Stark, quite frankly, right?
Iron Man.
In the Marvel universe, you look at what they've got around them, and you think that's just fantastic, right? Designed to be. So what we did was we went and found the special effects company that's also a product design company. So they don't just do Hollywood special effects; they actually do real product design. And so, they graciously took our call. The founder and COO were on the call, and they were just delighted to talk to us. They were delighted to hear your backstory and what we're doing with this.
Right.
And we got Tony Stark's designers going to build the front end product that our clients can get excited about, can see with a visual impact that'll be meaningful, that'll convey a ton of data without them having to go learn squashing sigmoidal functions or whatever else that's that's driving this underneath the hood.
So this product combines IBM Watson real language technology with Iron Man, Tony Stark graphics, but in between, great scientists, great cutting-edge science, great predictive analytics.
With another
all
foot
in one
capital
package.
market theory that is just unmatched.
Right. And this is not limited to capital markets. That's the main effort, the main focus, but also takes into account geopolitical risk and other factors. And those two worlds used to be, they've always been somewhat connected. But when you take the world of defense, intelligence, military, statecraft, and diplomacy, and over here is the world of stocks, bonds, derivatives, gold, commodities, foreign exchange, where they converge. That convergence is getting bigger.
That Venn diagram's increasing. It's not detracting.
And this engine is specializing. It's in that intersection of the two.
Exactly right. It's one of the reasons why having a legally trained attorney, capital markets theory, with an intelligence background, married with a military intelligence defense official, married with a chief data scientist who's also the CEO of a publicly traded capital trading firm. We've pulled the team together. Our CFO came out of Connecticut, out of the New York. Was running $750 billion hedge fund as the CFO. Has decided to jump over and join us. Everybody that has seen this has asked one of two questions, and one of them was always, how do I get involved in this? How do I support this? We've never had anybody tell us no.
Well, we both have intelligence backgrounds, but getting a lawyer and an Army Ranger together, how could you go wrong? So this is a great team, great science, great graphics, great analytics behind it. I couldn't be more excited.
Me too, and I know you're terribly busy. You got your newest book is out right now, The Road to Ruin, which I've been telling people. You want to understand what we're doing with Meraglim? Go read The Road to Ruin.
It's in there,
because it's the philosophy and the practical science and the discussion of why this is needed right now as much as anything, right? So I've got all my friends and relatives all reading the book to try and understand what it is I'm doing every day. Your willingness to carve out time from all the rest that you're doing to help give us the direction and keep us moving in the right direction has just been invaluable, and I can't express how much we appreciate it.
Good, thanks, Kevin. This is going to be a great ride.
Yes, it is. Thanks.